This is music, and this is madness undressed. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos, I share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. Let's just get down to business, starting out with some Danish heavy metal, Hectora Twilight Nights. This is modern traditional heavy metal, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's straight up heavy metal, but they're not trying to sound like a band from the early 80s or late 70s. And so it has a very modern guitar tone, a very modern production overall, and I actually find that quite refreshing. That there are bands wanting to take the straight up heavy metal genre forward instead of, you know, backwards, or instead of, I guess, having a more retro perspective on it. And I do love new wave of traditional heavy metal, don't get me wrong. Excellent stuff, fantastic guitar solos, soaring vocals as well. You got some influences from speed metal, from thrash metal, from power metal as well. There's even a little bit of groove metal on here too. For example, the song called Cosmic Menace has a quite groove metal-ish main riff in the beginning. The next song, Children of the Atom, is like a power thrasher. Excellent stuff. Check it out. Um, Especially if you're interested in Danish metal. This one is also Danish metal. Pretty Mates, Undress Your Madness. I'm pretty sure I've heard this one before, actually. I think I might even have had a copy of it at some point. Uh, Very modern metal too. Very heavy guitar tone, very modern production, quite melodic in places, but also heavier in places than what you might expect from a Pretty Mates album if you're only used to their, 80s classics. Uh, Tasty guitar solos on this one. Absolutely awesome. Quite husky vocals, but it fits the music quite well. So yeah, this one is worth checking out if you like your melodic heavy metal slash modern hard rock, but with a heavy guitar tone. Speaking of heavy guitar tone, I also finally got around to checking this one out. Propane, self-titled. Propane, a very productive hardcore meets groove metal band. And I think this might be one of their early albums, maybe the debut album. I'm actually not sure. It's heavier than a lot of their more early output. To be sure, the guitar tone is heavier. Um, the songs are a little bit slower and groovier. Not a lot though, because their style is very consistent throughout the years. Really like this one. I dig the grooves. I also gave this one a spin. Propane, Contents Under Pressure. Same style, very groovy, very heavy, but the guitar tone is brighter, so it sounds less heavy. The bass tone sounds like it could have been, something you would hear in a thrash metal album, like an Overkill album or a Megadeth album. But absolutely fantastic songs on here. And on both of these, you got some really tasty guitar solos too. Much better, in my opinion, than what you normally hear on hardcore albums. And I do quite like those guitar solos on, like Vinny Stigma solos on Agnostic Front. I love them. But this is just a little bit more um, tasty, if that makes any sense. Excellent stuff. If you like your groovy metal, your groovy hardcore, and you don't know Propane, check him out. Um, I prefer this one a little bit over this one for some reason, but I like both of these. And had I known about Propane back in the day when I was big into groove metal in the early 90s, I would have become an instant fan. Interestingly enough, when I heard them for the first time in 2010, I think it was, I became an instant fan. So there you go. And up last, Paul Diano's War Horse. Unfortunately, sadly, he passed away in 2024. So this is, to the best of my knowledge, the last studio recording he did, the last official studio recording with his voice on it. Maybe there's some archival material out there somewhere that someone wants to release at some point, but I think this is the last studio album he recorded. And it's a great album. Just straight up heavy metal, modern guitar tone, hard rocking songs, elements from hard rock, elements from heavy metal, elements from 80s stuff, a little bit of 70s stuff as well. You do have some influences from Iron Maiden, but it's not an Iron Maiden ripoff at all. I really dig a lot of the songs on here. The title track Warhorse is fantastic. Stop the War, I really like that song. You also have Here Comes the Night. That's a great, more melodic, almost like AOR-ish song. And then you also have a fun cover version of the Tequila song. And, which I really dig, there's a cover version of Depeche Mode's Precious. And it's really good. I really like it. Awesome stuff. Um, Paul Di'Anno's voice sounds a little bit more gravelly in this one than in the old Iron Maiden days, but he was not a young man when he recorded this one, and he had a rough life and so on and so forth. But so his voice sounds a little bit more gravelly, but that's fine. It's rock and roll. It fits the music. He does still, and he does that a lot. On this album, he's still able you know, uh, to make those extended, clear notes with the vibrato that he did back in the Iron Maiden days as well. So I think his voice is actually extremely good on this one, and I think seeing that this is his swan song, his last goodbye, I think it's you know he can be proud to go out on this one if you know what I mean. It's 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 uh it's a good last hooray, right? Definitely. So I really like this album. I was kind of expecting to kind of feel sad and stuff when listening to it, but I didn't even feel sad. I kind of felt proud that this was uh, his last work, if you know what I mean. Now, the booklet I have here, I'm fortunate enough that I have kind of they made kind of a mistake, so they gave me the front page twice, which means double up on Diano here, right? Uh, so that's cool. And I actually like the visuals. It's a little bit like Photoshoppy, but I kind of like that as well. Um, so you got here, you got a little bit of bird flipping here. I like what they did here, like the lightning flashing out of his finger there. Uh, Looks like I think maybe they had a lot of fun making this one. Diano, I think he only, sang on here. I don't think he contributed to the writing or anything, but, like I said, very well composed, straight up heavy metal songs, and I think his voice does sound really great. One great last hooray for, one of the heroes of heavy metal. Let's just put it like that. I mean, he was on the first Iron Maiden album and on Killers. He did the Battle Zone albums that I think are better than people give them credit for. He did that AOR album, Diano, or in Japan, was it Two Swimmers and a Bag of Jockeys or something? I think it's Cogni Rhyme. I don't know, but yeah, he put out some really good stuff over the years, and like I said, a good last hooray. So to Diano and to you, thanks for watching.